This video was created for those that live in marginalized neighborhoods throughout the United States. It was created to create an understanding of how those neighborhoods were created, and more importantly, how to get out of them. It starts with the notion of the self-fulfilling prophecy. The self-fulfilling prophecy says that if you create the conditions, then you create the outcome. This video focuses on the self-fulfilling prophecy and how to reverse it. One of the things that we want to take away, that I hope that you take away from this video, is that you can and you do have the talent necessary to change your condition. So let's start with the video, and I'll come in on the other side. Self-fulfilling prophecy. He who controls the narrative controls the outcome. He who controls the narrative controls the outcome. My name is Michael Randolph, and I'm with the Center for Nonprofit and Community Development. We work in the area of nonprofit development as well as community development nationally. Specifically in poverty-stricken communities and marginalized communities. In fact, I've lived in those type of community all of my life. In addition to that, I have over 30 years experience in working in these types of community. 30 years experience in working in economic and community development. So I see it from a different perspective as a practitioner. The title of this is From Neighborhood to Hood, to Economic Slavery, to Controlling the Culture. And neighborhoods that I work in, one thing they've asked me to do is to put together a presentation that can explain to the average person that live in these neighborhoods how the neighborhood got to the way it is, and how the conditions in the neighborhoods are being controlled. So let's look at the different elements to an understanding of how did the neighborhood get the way it is. I want to start off with what's called redlining. For those of you that are not familiar with that, especially those that live in the hood, those that's on the streets, living that street life every day, that hood life every day. So I want to draw how they created the hood. The very thing that you call the hood was created this way. The first thing they did was to take the hood out of neighborhood, and they created the hood. And this is the way they created the hood. The first thing was to redline it. What do we mean by redlining? Line is when you take a geographic location and you draw a circle or box around it. And you say, in this particular area here, these are the things that can happen and can't happen. In this case, the African American community. And then you drain the community of all resources and you restrict wealth building in that community, including restricting access to capital, as well as when you do get capital, increasing the interest rate on it. The other element is how do you create the hood is that you control the the culture. What does that mean? You create an atmosphere or a mindset of what right is wrong and what's wrong is right. You do this in part by controlling the entertainment, music, the culture itself. You do this by creating a pool, a flood of guns and drugs and hopelessness into the community. And it's that hopelessness that breaks you up. Added to the ingredients now, and these are the ingredients to where we are now, is you restore the family. You do this by creating what was known as welfare. That welfare part that resulted in the father having to leave the household. And from the broke up from the family, it's the broke up of the community and the creation of the hood. And when you created the hood, you then criminalize the community. That is, there's a mindset that the only way that you can make it out is through crime. And then you create this second class citizenship and this mindset of the conditions that lead from school to the prison pipeline. This is part of the self-fulfilling prophecy. That if you create the right conditions, you create the narrative, you create the results. We're looking to reverse the self-fulfilling prophecy. And we're doing that in a couple of ways. One of the ways is to begin to plot a pathway towards reimagining and reinvesting we have to change the self-fulfilling prophecy. And we do this by reversing the self-fulfilling prophecy. And we reverse the self-fulfilling prophecy by creating a neighborhood that creates a community that creates the village. One of the tools that we use is building wealth, creating a narrative, by creating opportunities that was once limited to the privileged. Artificial intelligence and Web3 offers that narrative to change and reverse the self-fulfilling prophecy by providing economic opportunities for those that live in marginalized communities. And it provides that opportunity by creating and allowing those that are in marginalized communities to build wealth. The reality is that any talent that you have can be monetized. Sorry, any talent that you have can be monetized. From the senior citizen who's on fixed income to the individual with limited skills. And what they don't tell people that's hanging on the corners is that there are hundreds of ways that you can use AI, artificial intelligence, in the Web3 to create your own business. The idea is that if you continue to believe in the self-fulfilling prophecy, that there's only one way out of the hood and making money, and that's by committing crime. Then if you continue to believe that, then you believe in the self-fulfilling prophecy. You change that by understanding that no matter what talent you have, you can monetize that talent by using artificial intelligence and Web3. Unlike any time in history, you have an opportunity to change the narrative and create wealth from the person that doesn't have a job to the person that has a job and needs more money to the person that simply wants to know how to invest his money. Therefore, is only getting jobs that pay a minimum amount of money, and you want to increase your skill sets to those who are looking for a job, to those that want to build your own business. There is no limitation on changing the narrative when it comes to artificial intelligence and the chat GPT and changing the economic outcome of those that live in marginalized communities. The whole objective of creating the self-fulfilling prophecy is to create a mindset where people feel marginalized. We're changing that narrative by giving you tools to economically change the narrative by creating your own source of income. And the list goes on and on related to the possibilities that was once restricted. Those individuals that are on the corner that are trying to find a way out of their current situation. See, as long as you're hanging on that corners, you fulfill the self-fulfilling prophecy. The whole notion is that if we create opportunities for them to commit crime, then we control the self-fulfilling prophecy. And that self-fulfilling prophecy is that you provide that prophecy that you fulfill it by creating criminality. Instead of that person choosing to use artificial intelligence as a way to get out. And which they jeopardize that freedom every day because they have no choice but to continue to follow the self-fulfilling prophecy. Artificial intelligence and Web3 offers that opportunity to change the narrative. That being said, I just want to bring it home again, and I've been asked to give this presentation because so many people are hanging on those corners and they don't understand that the corners was created by somebody other than you. and that everything you do is dictated and been planned for you to do. As long as you hang on those corners, those that are part of the self-fulfilling prophecy sets back. See, they get joy out of your misery. They created a condition for you to be miserable, and they set back and they get paid and they get joy. We have to stop the self fulfilling prophecy by creating opportunities for people to increase their economic opportunities. So, in other words, to increase their wealth. That's how we reverse the self fulfilling prophecy by letting people know there are opportunities to create a pathway to success so that you can keep your freedom. It's a self fulfilling prophecy that if you create the conditions, the narrative, you create the result. And you just set back and the cycle repeats itself. We have to break the cycle. We have to reverse the self fulfilling prophecy. Artificial intelligence, the Web3 are this one tool that can change the whole narrative.